The movie begins with a girl named Natalie driving through a mountain range north of Los Angeles. Suddenly, strange cracks appear on the road ahead. Unexpectedly, rocks fall from above, causing her car to plunge down the mountain. The vehicle rolls several times before heading straight into a deep ravine. She won't survive this time. Luckily, thanks to her grandparents' medicine left in the car, the vehicle gets stuck halfway on a cliff ledge. However, it's a vertical cliff, so escaping is nearly impossible. Soon after, a Los Angeles rescue helicopter arrives. The male lead, Ray, is a rescue pilot from the Los Angeles Fire Department. He and his heroic team come to save Natalie. Ray calls to calm her down and tells her not to panic. Communicating with her through the crevice, he immediately orders his team to rappel down with ropes. During the approach, however, one team member's arm gets stuck at the car's tail. Ray has no choice but to step in himself. As the car begins to fall into the abyss, he quickly pulls the girl out. The rest of the rescue team manages to pull them both up just in time. Everyone breathes a sigh of relief as the dangerous mission is finally completed. Meanwhile, at Caltech, Professor Lawrence is lecturing students about catastrophic earthquakes. The largest recorded earthquake in history measured 9.5 on the Richter scale. The San Andreas Fault lies between two constantly shifting tectonic plates, which means massive earthquakes are inevitable in the future. Dr. Kim notices abnormal seismic activity. A series of small earthquakes is occurring near the Hoover Dam, so the two decide to head there to investigate. At the dam, located in Nevada, Kim confirms the expected frequency data. Their theory proves to be accurate to the centimeter. Just then, a large earthquake suddenly strikes, registering 7.1. The professor urgently tells everyone to get out. He sees the dam is about to collapse and quickly guides people to evacuate. As they flee in panic, the dam begins to crack and crumble. Water is about to flood the area at any moment. When the professor sees a young girl trapped in a corner, he helps her escape from the incoming flood. The dam bursts into countless fragments. Tragically, Kim doesn't survive. Though he saves the girl, a metal beam pins down his leg. Realizing the situation is hopeless, he tells the professor to stay put while he gets swept away by the torrent along with the collapsing dam. The professor is devastated by the loss of his colleague. Despite being a hero at work, the male lead Ray has a tragic personal life. Years ago, during a boating trip, his youngest daughter drowned. He's never been able to move on. His relationship with his wife has also become distant. They're planning a divorce. Ray's wife has started seeing a wealthy man named Daniel. She introduces him to Ray, saying they just want someone to lean on, and she plans to move in with Daniel. This man even insists on taking Ray's daughter to college. Typical. To impress his new girlfriend's daughter, Daniel uses his private jet to take her to San Francisco for her college orientation. He reveals that he's building the tallest building in the city. At the worksite, the daughter is immediately attracted to a charming and muscular guy named Ben, who came for a job interview. Ben is accompanied by his younger brother Ollie. The three get along instantly. Meanwhile, the professor, still mourning Kim, joins a TV interview to warn the public of impending disasters. At that moment, two students rush in with urgent news. Unusual seismic activity is occurring along the coastal fault lines, especially in San Francisco. Using his knowledge, the professor maps out a new fault line based on recent quakes, and the result stuns him. The entire San Andreas area could be destroyed. Back in San Francisco, Ray's wife Emma is having lunch with her new husband's sister. The sister doesn't like Emma. Meanwhile, Ray is flying a rescue mission in his helicopter and calls his ex-wife to apologize for his aggressive behavior the day before. Suddenly, a massive earthquake hits, interrupting their call. From above, Ray can see the devastation caused by the quake. He tells Emma to run to the rooftop so he can rescue her more easily. At this point, the San Andreas Fault is shaking violently and quickly spreading toward San Francisco. Yet the people there remain blissfully unaware that hell is about to break loose. Blake is still exchanging phone numbers with Ollie to send to Ben when she and her stepfather get into the car to head home. Suddenly, an earthquake strikes. Before they can react, the basement collapses. The driver is crushed and dies instantly. Blake's leg is trapped under the seat, preventing her from escaping. The situation is dire. The entire structure could collapse at any moment. Her stepfather, valuing his own life over hers, abandons her and rushes outside to save himself. Right then, a massive chunk of concrete falls and kills several people. Daniel pretends to be brave, as if nothing's happened. Ben, realizing something's wrong, leaves immediately and remembers Blake. A powerful earthquake measuring 9.1 on the Richter scale hits, unleashing devastating tremors that deform the entire city. Skyscrapers begin to crumble, glass shatters, concrete rains down, and people inside panic, scattering in all directions. Emma tells Susan to go to the rooftop together, but Susan doesn't listen and runs toward another exit. As Emma chases after her, she discovers there's nothing left below. The floor has collapsed. Horrified, she rushes to the rooftop alone. The death toll keeps rising, but no one listens to Emma's warning. Alone, she climbs to the top. Just as she reaches the rooftop, the nearby buildings are shaking uncontrollably and collapsing. Emma looks back to see the very building she's on also starting to give way. Broken slabs of concrete fall all around. Somehow, she survives and scrambles upward. At this critical moment, Ray's helicopter arrives. He spots Emma and breathes a sigh of relief. But just then, the building explodes again, and fire rapidly spreads. Emma runs to the highest point. Ray switches the helicopter to autopilot and lowers a rescue cable. Emma runs toward it but trips and nearly falls to her death. Just then, a neighboring building collapses, covering everything in dust and smoke. Fortunately, Emma grabs the rescue cable just in time and narrowly escapes death. As they prepare to leave, two more tall buildings collapse, right onto their helicopter. Ray barely avoids being crushed. They survive the close call, but danger still looms ahead, like something straight out of a disaster movie. Meanwhile, trapped in the basement, Blake tries calling for help but gets no response. She then calls Ray, knowing no one else would risk their life to save her. Ray immediately flies toward her location. Luckily, Ben and his younger brother Ollie arrive just in time. The two try lifting the concrete slab trapping Blake, but their strength isn't enough. Ben opens the car trunk and finds a car jack, but even with that, it's not high enough. Thinking quickly, he places it on a tire for more height and manages to free her before the slab crushes the car. Aftershock tremors strike again, forcing the trio to run for their lives. Blake realizes her stepfather abandoned her and curses him. Emergency crews swarm the city to rescue the wounded. The trio takes shelter in an electronics store, finds a working phone, and calls Ray. She tells him they just narrowly survived and that her mom's rich boyfriend left her behind. Ray tells her to find the highest ground, and he'll come get her. Emma, enraged, wants to kill that rich coward and even grabs a laser pointer in the store like a weapon. Meanwhile, the professor compares past tremors with current ones and concludes the worst is yet to come. The most urgent thing now is to warn the public. He asks a reporter to take him to the TV station and brings along his students to hack the system for quicker access. Back on the chaotic streets, Ben is still navigating through the panicked crowds when another aftershock hits. A building suddenly collapses, crushing many people, even those thought to be in safe spots. One unlucky man is blown away by the shockwave, a tragic reminder that fate shows no mercy. On their way to San Francisco, Ray's helicopter engine fails. He has to immediately lower altitude and make an emergency landing. The aircraft hits a metal beam and crashes into a clothing store. Luckily, neither he nor Emma is injured. As they prepare to change into some fresh clothes, gunshots ring out nearby, young thugs causing chaos. Ray runs out and tries to borrow a vehicle to escape. He spots a bulldozer and gets in with Emma. But wouldn't you know it, the thugs also aim for the same vehicle. Like fate itself has a twisted sense of humor, picking the worst moment to mess with them. After that, the couple started the car to go rescue their daughter. Meanwhile, at the TV station, the professor's students successfully gained control of the national broadcast. The professor warned that the earthquakes would continue and become even more intense. He urged everyone to evacuate immediately. At the same time, Ray and his wife were driving toward San Francisco when they saw an elderly couple trying to warn others. Fortunately, Ray was able to brake in time. Right in front of them was a massive sinkhole. It turned out to be the San Andreas fault line itself. They turned back to thank the old couple and noticed they had a small plane. Ray immediately offered to trade their car for the plane. They fueled up and prepared to fly to San Francisco. During the flight, Ray told his wife about what happened to their youngest daughter. He apologized for never opening up to her all these years. The couple continued flying toward San Francisco. Meanwhile, Blake's group was stuck in a crowd trying to evacuate through the city subway, but the entrance had collapsed. So they decided to head for the highest ground in the city, a steep hill. Not long after, Ray and Emma arrived in San Francisco, but the airport below had been destroyed by the quakes, making it impossible to land. Spotting a stadium nearby, Ray decided to parachute down with his wife. The plane, now out of fuel, would crash straight into the Pacific Ocean. After a tense descent, Ray and Emma safely landed in the stadium. The news continued reporting that the government was working to evacuate people to safety. At last, the massive earthquake the professor predicted struck. Blake's group was walking through an empty street when the most powerful quake in history hit, a staggering 9.6 magnitude. It surpassed all previous quakes and tore the city apart. Unluckily, a shard of glass shot out from a broken building and stabbed Ben in the leg. The tremors caused skyscrapers to collapse everywhere, turning the once bustling city into a living hell. Even the iconic Golden Gate Bridge was destroyed. With years of experience as a rescuer, Ray charged into the chaos like a guardian angel, guiding survivors toward the stadium. Buildings were still collapsing. Spotting a girl with an injured leg, Ray managed to carry her out of danger just in time. Just when it seemed like they'd made it, a steel beam from above shook loose and fell toward the crowd. Ray shouted for everyone to get close to the wall. Miraculously, no one was hurt. The couple pressed on to find their daughter. The road ahead was blocked by debris, so Ray decided to take the water route. Back with Blake's group, the glass shard was deeply embedded in Ben's leg. Blake took off her shirt to bandage the wound and carefully removed the glass. After that, they continued heading toward higher ground. Meanwhile, Ray and Emma piloted a speedboat at full throttle toward the Transamerica Tower. When they arrived, they discovered the tower was already burning. Suddenly, the sea began receding rapidly, a sure sign that a tsunami was approaching. Ray and Emma had to move fast. The trio and Ollie got the tsunami warning too late. They rushed into the unfinished skyscraper that Daniel had been building over the river. Several boats were heading out to sea. Ray and Emma were on one of them. Their only hope was to ride over the massive wave. The tsunami loomed, hundreds of meters tall. Ray pushed the boat to maximum speed, bracing for impact. Even the fire extinguisher flew off the boat from the force. Just as they were about to die, a nearby speedboat capsized. Ray's boat nearly cleared the wave but collided with a cargo ship. The steering was lost, and the couple was thrown into the water, but they refused to give up. Cargo containers from the ship began falling into the river. Ray skillfully swerved through them, dodging left and right, until they finally escaped death. The cargo ship crashed into Rainbow Bridge. Daniel, Emma's cowardly ex, was also on the bridge with evacuees. A falling container crushed him. The villain got the ending he deserved. The ship continued to destroy the bridge, and countless people were swept away. The powerful current dragged everything, and everyone, in its path. The elderly couple from earlier watched in horror, embracing each other and accepting their fate. Citizens tried to run, but it was too late. The flood arrived faster than anyone imagined. Whole blocks of buildings were flattened in an instant as the water rushed into the city. Meanwhile, the trio climbed to the top of a skyscraper, only to realize it wasn't high enough. The tsunami was already surging toward them. The three huddled together, bracing for the impact. Fortunately, the building they were in was well built and withstood the wave, just barely. They successfully escaped death. Now that the tsunami had passed, Ray and Emma ran into the ruins of San Francisco. The city was in complete devastation, but Ray believed their daughter was still alive. They just had to find her. Meanwhile, Blake was checking Ben's wound. While her younger brother was away getting water, Ben seized the chance to kiss her, a little unexpected romance in the middle of chaos. Ray and Emma steered their boat through the flooded city. Above them, a Navy ship crashed into a high-rise building. The remaining boats continued rescuing stranded victims. Ollie, fetching water, spotted a boat and shouted for his sister and Ben to come. Blake lit up when she saw her parents, but no matter how loud she shouted, they couldn't hear her. She remembered the green laser pointer the boy had and used it to shine a signal at the boat. Ray turned and saw his daughter on top of the building. The couple embraced with joy, but just then, the building began to collapse again. Below, Ray panicked and screamed his daughter's name. Water pressure shattered the windows, separating Blake and Ben. Ben helped Ollie reach safety and intended to return, but the building sank even deeper. In a desperate moment, Ray jumped from the boat into the water. Blake was trapped behind a door that was jammed shut by debris. Ray promised to get her out, but even with all his strength, he couldn't break through. Meanwhile, the building continued to shake and the water kept rising. The floor they were on was about to flood completely. Blake whispered her final words to her father before fainting. Ray, seeing his daughter slipping away, smashed the door and swam to her. He pulled her out and swam to the surface. Finally, they reached temporary safety, but Blake wasn't breathing. Ray tried desperately to revive her, but she didn't respond. He was losing hope. Emma, watching from the boat, cried. Ray remembered losing his youngest daughter to drowning. He wouldn't let that happen again. In a moment of despair, a miracle happened. Blake suddenly coughed and came back to life. She had escaped death. The family embraced, overwhelmed with joy. The nightmare was finally over. As predicted by the seismologists, thanks to early warnings, Casualties were kept to a minimum. Citizens were evacuated by the military to higher ground. But nature's wrath always leaves scars. Many people lost loved ones, family, friends. Those who survived would carry the pain but continue. In the final scene, Ray's family watches the sunset in peace. Ben hands Blake the bracelet that almost fell off on the boat. After all the hardships, her heart finally opened up to him. Watching the disaster behind them, Emma asked Ray, "What do we do now?" Ray looked at the waving American flag and replied, "We rebuild." The movie ends here.